Have you ever judged someone so quickly that you didn't even bother to look into their soul? We all think we're good at reading people, but sometimes we're so blinded by the surface that we miss the real treasure hiding inside. This is the story of Emily and Daniel, and trust me, by the end, you might never look at people the same way again. Daniel was the kind of guy who could walk into a crowded room and still go unnoticed. He was simple, sometimes slightly wrinkled shirts, jeans that looked like they'd been washed a few too many times, and sneakers with scuffed edges. No one would ever stop to ask, "Where did you get that watch?" Because he didn't wear one, he didn't brag, he didn't chase attention. Instead, he watched the world around him in cafes. He would sit in the corner, scribbling notes in a worn-out notebook, sipping cheap coffee while others showed off their new gadgets and designer clothes. But Daniel had something rare, an inner fire, a dream bigger than any luxury brand. Emily, on the other hand, was the queen of the scene. Every event was her runway. Her hair was always perfect, nails freshly painted, her clothes hand-picked from the trendiest boutiques. She spent hours curating her Instagram feed, selfies with perfect lighting, captions dripping with confidence. Hashtags like #bossbabe and #richvibesonly. She didn't just want love. She wanted a love story she could broadcast to the world. She wanted candlelight dinners in rooftop restaurants, diamond necklaces, luxury vacations in Bali, and a man who looked like he stepped out of a GQ magazine cover. One evening, at a friend's lavish birthday party, Emily arrived in a shimmering silver dress that turned heads. She moved from one group to another, laughing loudly, carefully positioning herself so that every photo looked candid but perfect. Daniel was there too, invited quietly because he had helped the birthday boy with a small tech problem a week before. He stood in the corner, sipping a soda, his eyes gentle, observing everyone with quiet curiosity. At one point, Emily's eyes met his purely by accident. Daniel took a deep breath, his heart pounding harder than any business pitch he'd ever given. "Hi, I'm Daniel," he said softly, approaching her with a warm but shy smile. "I couldn't help but notice your smile. It's really lighting up the room tonight." Emily almost laughed. Her eyes slid down immediately to his shoes, plain, slightly dusty sneakers, then to his shirt. Nothing special, probably something he picked up from a local store. Strike one. Daniel, unaware of her silent judgment, tried to talk about a book he was deeply inspired by, a new-up idea he was working on that he thought could change lives, and his passion for community projects. But Emily's mind drifted away. She was looking past him, scanning the room for that tall man in the navy blue suit, the one she saw pull up earlier in a sleek sports car. Finally, she interrupted him, forcing a tight-lipped smile. "I'm sorry. Daniel, right? You seem nice, but I'm looking for someone, more established, someone with vision, and a lifestyle that matches mine." Daniel froze for a moment. The party music felt louder, almost echoing, in his chest. But instead of arguing, he simply smiled, nodded, and quietly said, "I understand. Have a good night." Emily barely noticed when he turned and left. Later that night, she laughed with her friends about that broke dreamer who dared approach her. She even posted a story, "Ladies, don't waste time on boys with big dreams but empty pockets. Only real kings deserve real queens." The universe, however, has a strange way of spinning stories. Emily continued to date her kings, men with luxury watches, designer suits, dinner reservations at the most expensive spots in town. But she soon realized they were shallow. Conversations never went deeper than Instagram followers, new car models, and vacation selfies. They looked good in photos but felt empty in person. A few months later, Emily's influencer friend invited her to one of the biggest tech conferences of the year. Everyone who was someone would be there: angel investors, startup founders, celebrities, even government officials. Emily spent hours getting ready. She chose a black sequin dress that shimmered under any light. She practiced her smile in the mirror, perfected her pose for pictures, and posted on her stories, ready to meet the future billionaires tonight. The conference hall was enormous. Giant screens displayed futuristic animations, and camera flashes went off constantly as famous entrepreneurs arrived. Emily felt like she was exactly where she belonged, among the rich, the ambitious. The powerful dot suddenly, the lights dimmed. A hush fell over the crowd. The host took the stage and announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech empires in the world, the man who turned a dream into a billion-dollar reality, Daniel Carter." Emily almost dropped her champagne glass. Her jaw hung open, eyes wide with disbelief. Daniel stepped onto the stage wearing a perfectly tailored black suit. That accentuated his calm confidence. But he wasn't flashy. He didn't throw up peace signs or wink at the cameras. He simply walked to the microphone with grace. That same quiet energy he had that night at the party. He began to speak. He talked about how he started with nothing but an idea and a second-hand laptop. How he worked late nights, slept on friends' couches, and lived on instant noodles because every dollar was invested back into his dream. He described how people laughed at him, called him crazy, told him to get a real job. How some even turned their backs on him when he needed support the most. "But I believed," Daniel said. "Looking out at the sea of faces, I believed that kindness and vision were worth more than any brand, any car, or any bank balance. And today, I stand here not because I wore the right shoes or drove the right car, but because I never gave up on my heart." The entire hall stood in thunderous applause. Emily's world shattered with every clap echoing around her dot after the speech. Daniel was instantly surrounded by journalists, investors, and young entrepreneurs begging for advice. Selfies, even autographs. Emily pushed forward, her heart pounding in her ears. "Daniel! Daniel! It's me! Emily!" she yelled. Waving desperately, Daniel turned slowly. Their eyes met. Emily's lips trembled. She thought maybe, just maybe, he would remember that night and forgive her. "Oh, Emily, right? You seem familiar," he said, polite but distant. His eyes a mix of softness and steel. "Yes, Daniel, I didn't know you were. I mean, you've done so well for yourself. Maybe we can catch up? Dinner? Coffee? Anything?" She stumbled over her words, her voice small, almost childlike. Daniel's smile this time was kind, but final, like a door closing gently but firmly. "Emily, you know, I'm looking for someone, you know, more genuine. Someone with a heart that matches mine," he said, echoing her exact words from that party, each wood like a needle in her chest. Emily's legs almost gave way. She stood frozen as Daniel turned and walked away. Beside him was a young woman in a simple white dress, her hair tied loosely, no designer jewelry, but her eyes glowed with pure pride and love. She was the one who had stayed during Daniel's poor days, who believed in him when no one else did. As Daniel held her hand and walked toward the cameras, Emily felt something inside her break forever. She looked down at her glittering dress, her expensive heels, her designer clutch, and for the first time they felt heavy, almost suffocating. The likes, the comments, the flashy dinners, none of it could save her now. That night, when she went home, she scrolled through her old photos with tears streaming down her face. She read her own shallow captions, each one now sounding emptier than the last. She finally understood the real luxury isn't in what you wear or what you drive. It's in having someone who truly believes in you, and sometimes the richest hearts wear the simplest shoes. So, would you still choose a shiny wallet or a golden heart? Tell me in the comments below. And remember, sometimes the biggest diamonds are hiding in the roughest stones.